You got a shirt, sir?
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by Next 1000. Time is running out to make the pledge.
This is for you, big sis.
Sir, what are you doing?
Early protest action as TSA opponents make their point on opt-out day.
I'll put them back on if it...
Put your clothes back on.
Am I legally obligated to?
Actually, this one was apparently shot on November 23rd. That was one day before activists urged flyers to take the pat down instead of the naked body scanner. One report from Houston indicates another aspect of the protest is taking hold. Supposedly the terminal there looks a lot like this, as some folks simply refuse to fly at all. Activists at New Hampshire's Manchester airport have been protesting there all day, including protests inside the airport, despite the lack of body scanners at our airport. Just on a personal note, giving credit where credit's due, all of my experiences with the TSA at this particular airport have been relatively positive. Oh, and just so you don't get too many of your hopes pinned to this one day, or this one website, wewantfly.com, there's now a completely separate operation, shutdowntheairports.com. They're asking people to skip work on December 1st. They're asking folks to simply walk up to the screening areas, regardless of whether they have a flight. In other words, a dissent of activists and concerned citizens on the source of the tyranny. Or maybe I could say the tip of its spear. Now they're suggesting more controversial stuff like parking in the road and lying down, that sort of thing. I don't know if any of that's going to happen, but I think it's always appropriate to drop by such a place and just see what's going on, to express your concern or document any abuses you see with a video camera. Well, so I've had this sort of concern nagging at the back of my mind, sort of like Obi-Wan Kenobi says in Episode 1 of Star Wars. There's more going on here than meets the eye. The authorities have some kind of end game in mind here. They wouldn't be doing something so stupid, arousing so much public discontent without a plan for using it to their advantage. Well, that was just a thought. And then I heard Joel Skousen on the Alex Jones show. Joel I consider to be a relatively credible source. He ran a nice survivalist forum for a long time. I think maybe he still runs it. He says what he thinks is happening here is a play for biometric data. He thinks the authorities are doing this to make people angry, and then they will back off against the anger and offer an alternate solution. That solution would be maybe showing your retinal scan, your fingerprints, or DNA sample in order to easily get on a plane. He also theorizes, well, I'm not positive it was Joel Skousen saying, it was either Skousen or Alex Jones who was theorizing that the authorities will let the discontent build to some kind of a crescendo and then stage some kind of a false flag attack on themselves, blame it on those who are discontent. The Boston Globe, covering Logan Airport today, the 24th, tried to play down the protests, but even their early morning report had no trouble finding multiple people to interview who had just opted out in protest. This is the type of resistance they're getting when people are at their weakest, at their most weak time, the most weak spot, with hundreds or thousands of dollars and a lot of personal items on the line. People who are usually outnumbered by large numbers of enforcers with nothing to do. Even limited resistance in places like these is a victory. We'll know by the end of the day just how limited or how robust the resistance has been. This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by Next 1000. Hundreds of liberty activists have joined the Free State Project and moved to New Hampshire for more liberty. But what if we could get 2,000 here by the autumn of 2011? That's the goal of the Next 1000 pledge. Drop by pledgebank.com/next1000 and sign up today. Next 1000.